Wow, another great podcast, another great guest. Will is funny and insightful. And yeah, I just love all the stuff that he's doing and his new book as well around teens and their mental health and just knowing that hey, they're okay. The kids are all right.
Kids are all right. That's a song. I think that's a song, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
But it's sort of funny because, Marcy, we started in this place we were frustrated with parents who were like, oh, the kids these days, like the
Kids these days.
millennials,
Yeah.
like nobody's working, like, no. And we're frustrated. We're like, okay, we're all about empowering the kids. And that's kind of where we started. And interestingly enough, we found an Aussie from down under who's essentially telling us the same thing. The kids are fine. The kids are fine,
Yeah.
right? He gave a really nice sort of historical perspective on psychoanalysis, sociology, and as much as we feel like we've gotten so far behind, we're just at the tip of the iceberg, right? Learning all these things about psychology and not just kids, but all of us, right?
Yeah, it's good stuff. I think you'll enjoy it.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DeMano. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We're always so grateful that you join us. Today, we're going to be speaking with Will Dobud. He is a social worker and an academic and the co-author of the new book, Kids These Days, Understanding and Supporting Youth Mental Health. So we're very happy to have you here, Will. Thanks for joining us.
I'm very happy to be here too and grateful for the opportunity to connect with you both.
Awesome.
Well, I'm super excited. My head is kind of flipping right now because I did, I'm the recon girl, and so I was scoping out Will, and I thought he was in Australia, and then he pops on and he's in Maryland. So I'm like, okay, where are you, Will, and what are you doing? But anyway, Will
Where in the world is Will?
Where in the world is Will? Yeah. So we're super excited to talk to you. He's got his hands in all kinds of things, and we're going to discuss all of them, including his new book. But Marci and I, you probably don't know this, but our start was with teens also. So this was probably 2017. I have a daughter who's having, some mental health issues, some physical issues. She was diagnosed with POTS syndrome, which I'm sure you're aware of. And so we went through a lot with that. And it was kind of on the heels of that we started our nonprofit organization and ultimately our podcast. So anyway, give us a little background on how you got into the business of teens and mental health, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So I grew up in Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. Part of my story is intrinsically linked to going to summer camp, as we're going to talk about the outdoors and things like that. But
Yes.
I went to summer camp from about 8 years old to sleepaway camp. And when I got there, I asked if I could use the phone to call my mom to say, never bring me home. I'm good now. This is fine. So I grew up as a pretty outdoorsy kid. I hated school. I was a good musician. Like people say they're self-taught, but like I could sit and just play music and play instruments forever by myself.
Wow.
And as a teenager, my parents ended up getting divorced when I was about 10. And when that happened, my father, who was not in a boohoo way, like a blue collar worker, and my mother worked in real estate. And I always felt like there was just two sides of our family that never meshed in any way. It was two totally different worlds.
Yeah.
And when they got divorced, he just kind of slowly left. So I grew up a child sitting on the front porch, when's my weekend with dad, like those sort of
Mm,
things.
Ah, yes.
And that led probably led to a lot of my misbehaving in high school. And I went to boarding school as a young person. Again, that was my summer camp. Like someone said, you can go away to school and get out of this house, no problem. And so I said, this sounds amazing.
I'm out.
I'm out. But again, I had very little guidance. I had no male role model. My mother was doing everything to keep our house together, and so that led to me being couch surfed to a lot of therapy. And I will tell you, I don't know if as a teenager therapy helped me, but I
mhm.
loved the idea of it. I thought like, oh, this is the only time we're going to have a real conversation about something. Actually,
Yes.
let's
That's so
like
true.
no adult talks to me about what I care about ever, you
Right.
know?
Exactly.
And there
Yes.
was a lot of therapy I'd look back on and say that was probably not a great idea. But at the same time, nothing I look back on and say I was harmed by therapy or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I turned 18, I've managed to scrape my way through high school. Lots of up and downs there. And when I turned 18, I went to the community college here in Maryland, and
Mm.
I studied some music theory. Didn't really, I was like, this is as boring as studying everything else. And then
Right.
I just got to a psychology class, and I had the best teacher. And from there,
Mm.
Ah,
Shout out to
I
the good
got it.
teachers out there making a difference in people's
Totally.
lives.
Well,
Yeah.
a rocket scientist has a teacher. So does your brain surgeon. So they're the
Hmm.
most important job besides parents that are out there.
Hmm.
And
Agreed.
so it was just like, oh, I could learn from this person. I'm engaged in the
Yes.
content. And I
mm.
mean, a
Yeah.
lot of intro to psychology is a lot of rat racing and a lot of how to get rats to eat cheese, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
Um, and uh, and so
What it
I
all
just
comes down to is get those rats to eat.
how, how we can eat more cheese in our life. Yes.
Yeah.
And I was hooked. At that
Yeah.
same time, I got a job at a working in the outdoors with young people, teaching,
Ah,
doing therapeutic stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm good outside. Outside doesn't bug me. I can be away
Mhm.
for weeks on end in the outdoors. That doesn't faze me. And slowly transitioned into social work. Started in, like, I was probably 20, 21. Helped start a aftercare program for young people leaving residential treatment programs.
oh, nice.
And
Mm.
we were doing all outdoor stuff. And so I got to
Yep.
see a program, how we start an organization, start a nonprofit. I basically lived on the floor of this person's house, being like, I want to soak up everything I can get from
Wow.
these people. And I just was hooked. I was hooked in just the notion of how can we simply do this better
Yes.
than where we're at.
I love
Yeah.
that.
I met my wife Renee. She works in travel. So speaking of like global citizen and going
Oh,
everywhere, so we're anywhere, everywhere, all the time.
love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Love
but I met
it.
Renee and I came to Australia, and about 30 minutes down the road was a huge adventure therapy nonprofit.
Oh,
Got a job there in Australia and started over again, learning everything again about doing this in a new culture, different sort
yeah.
of westernized system,
Right.
different language of everything. And eventually, while doing a master's degree with a research component, met an amazing, again, PhD supervisor and went down the
Hmm.
research rabbit hole. So it's kind of none of this was planned, but it's
No.
all kind of
Right.
really happy accidents along the way
Yeah.
that
Well, it's universally planned. You just didn't know about
probably.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did read about all of your metaphysical stuff, so
Oh,
I'm willing to have
whoops.
this conversation.
Whoops.
You ready for our woo woo?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah.
that's okay. It's all woo woo, so it's okay. So,
It really
um,
is. You
so
just said a thing right there.
Yeah.
yeah. And so it was just a series of amazing
Wow.
events, and then here we are, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's fantastic.
The thing I hear in that, you talk about a series of amazing events, but you were open and ready and hungry is this is what I'm hearing in here. Like you're hungry for you want to learn more and you're trying to seek it out. So when you're in that place of receptivity and willingness and openness, things show up that other people won't even see. And you're just jumping on, man, I'm going to Australia now. Oh, there's this place is here and I'm going to get into this. And that's
Yeah.
that's the way to do it. That's the way to really level yourself up
Yeah.
and receive these gifts that are out there for you.
I think openness to experience is one of the most undermined human, personality
Hmm.
traits that we
Mhm.
Yeah.
don't talk about, which is,
Yeah.
hey, hold on a second. You'll find out if this is good or bad later. Don't
Yeah.
worry
Yeah.
about it now. Like,
Right.
I mean, go
we
for
we get
it.
so into judging a thing like this is good, this is bad, that's for me, that's not, and planning it. And I'm a planner, so I'm not like saying never plan anything, but you can make your plans, you can set your intentions, but then stay open to how things show up, because you might be planning for this and then you see this thing and you're like, oh, what is that? And instead
Yeah.
of being like, no, that's not my plan, you could be like, well,
Mm,
let me just look at this, like you say, I don't know if this is for me or not, but I'm open to seeing. And that willingness, that openness can change everything.
yeah,
Curiosity.
yeah,
It's all about
totally.
just staying curious, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about it. I was listening and watching some of your social media and whatnot.
Mhm.
I was doing a little recon on you yesterday,
Yeah.
but you talked a little bit about like, therapy, psychology, what was going on, and like since the 1930s, like we really
Yeah.
have made very little, zero, progress. Right. So talk that's a wide open subject, of course, but talk about clearly you've done some research now and you know so much. So give us the intellectual take on what you think has happened with therapy and why we're open to it. Now it's the middle of every conversation almost, right?
Well, this is a fascinating question. And so the first thing to remember when it comes to like profession, I'm a part of a social work or whether someone's a
Yeah.
psychologist or our professions are not old. Like helping people is old. Social
Mhm.
work is like from the 1930s.
Yeah.
Psychology, early 1900s in America.
Yeah.
These are new concepts.
Yeah.
One
True.
of the span of things, like
Yeah.
if we talked about schooling, compulsory schooling for children, that's more recent than the Civil War. So these are
Mhm.
new concepts, in the scheme of
Mhm.
human development. One of the things that happened in the field of social work was founded on women's liberation and get kids out of factories, and then figure out how to deal with post-Civil War United States, where you have increased immigration, we have free African Americans in like all of
Mhm.
this was figuring out how do we actually come together in some
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Psychology, the study of the mind, study like social work and psychology, we'll just pick on these two really quickly. They were actually best friends for a long time because it was like there's a social world, there's a psychological world. Let's figure out how to come together and learn from each other. We're talking early 1900s here. But Sigmund Freud dominated the story of therapy.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, but what happened is it became all about medicine. So now
Mhm.
we have a doctor who has created a technique,
Yes.
psychoanalysis,
Yeah.
and now we have to have techniques to do social things or to study the mind. We need techniques. At the same time, the late 1890s, to get really metaphysical here, the late 1800s, we have Darwin writing Origin of Species. So now the origin story, which many religious people would say is this story from this text
Okay.
of whatever sect of religion, now, no, it's all science. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
philosophy became about counting. So philosophy joined the scientific realm with medicine, that we have to count things. If we can't count it, it's not real. So
Mm.
what did we do?
Uh,
A mental illness is not real unless you can count it.
oh, wow. Okay.
Which means you have
Okay.
to have,
Like
which
it's
means you
coming,
have,
it's getting clear right now.
so then you have to have the treatment to treat the illness,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Now, here's the wild thing. If we go from the early 1900s, name me a therapy that has ever disappeared. They don't exist,
Mhm.
right? So Freud's psychoanalysis, his ideas, I think like they're perfectly fine ideas. They are all back in vogue right now, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
What occurred from the 30s to today was this tribalism of fighting in the therapeutic world, where you have the Freudian folks and then you have behaviorists, right?
Hmm.
The
Mhm.
Freudian folks thought treating people like dogs, like the behaviorists are doing, is wrong. Well, the behaviorists thought sitting and ruminating about your problems and talking about your dreams is dangerous. So they fought with each other.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
In 1977, the first ever meta-analysis occurred, which for psychotherapy research is incredible. It's a meta-analysis of psychotherapy outcomes. And they found psychotherapy works incredibly well, more effective than most common practice medical treatments that we would provide. What those researchers found is like a buried lead. They found that no therapy of the time, of which there was about 60, was
Mm-hmm.
better than any other. But think about what we did since then. We had about 60. Today, 2025, we have over 1,000.
Yeah.
So we
Therapies.
have we have more treatments and outcomes have not improved 1%. So we keep creating a new story for a new something that's wrong with people. I mean, there's a quote attributed to Freud that says, "In my time, I haven't found much that's good with human beings. I find most of them to be trash." And the good thing is, our field has done a great job writing a ton of books about people's trash, what's wrong with them, how to fix them, how to
Yep.
make
Yep.
them better. And the scary part is like, if you think of like, would I ever see a dentist from the 1930s? Not a chance on your life. Like, we still tell people to be scared of a root canal. It doesn't hurt anymore. It's a
Yep.
nothing burger operation today.
Yeah.
But if you went and saw a therapist in the 30s, you'd have just as good of a chance as getting better as you would in 2025.
Mm,
So this part is we keep heading in a direction that looks progressive. It looks like we're getting better. It looks like, look at this new shiny treatment, when the
mm,
truth is nothing is improving in how we care for each other.
mm,
Wow. That's a little depressing.
mhm.
Still
Right?
works, still works
But
really well. So
yeah,
still
yeah,
that part. That's the
yeah,
good part.
yes.
Just that we're not getting better.
Yeah.
Getting
So,
better. Yeah.
so Marcy and I are all about grounding. We're about nature, nature walks, like
Mm,
all the things. So, and you are Mr. True North Expedition, right?
Yes.
You started
Yeah.
that. So, tell us why this is important. Tell us
yeah.
like
Explain what
what
it is first, too. What is True North
yes,
Expedition for anyone who doesn't
that
know?
too.
So when I came to Australia, I was working at a large NGO, working with young people. Love the young people, could not believe the bureaucratic red tape of a large
Right.
nonprofit.
Right.
It was crushing me. And my wife said, you have to start your own thing.
Mm,
And I said, I don't know. Like, I've been a part of a team to do that before. This is like 2012. And we saved some money. We got a nice deal with an outdoor company. We bought 10 backpacks and 10 sleeping bags. And we found some young people that had some funding to go out into the Australian bush with me. And I remember the moment of stepping like out of the car with like no organizational backing. Like, this is just me. And I went,
hmm.
this is scary as shit. Like,
Yeah.
I better not mess this up.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we did 2 week expeditions, and then I did normal private practice work, working with individuals, working with families. But it became sort of a laboratory for testing ideas. We never thought we had the best program, best organization in the world. We thought, how can we get better next time we do this? What's the next thing we need to do?
Hmm.
And there was a lot of growing pains in figuring that out. Also, me bringing a ton of Americana context to Australia, learning how
Mhm.
to speak a different cultural version of English. But what we did was really try to embody that we can be researchers and practitioners at the same time. We can test our ideas. We can figure out, if we do this, will this help us get better? So the outdoor side of things, I view, and this is sort of what resonates throughout our new book, that I think in the psychotherapy world and the mental health world in general, we have an engagement problem. And so the engagement problem is not because we don't have the right therapy. Like I said, we have 1,000 of them. Therapy is kind of like the toothpaste aisle at a grocery store.
Yes.
They're all the same shit, but there's 900 different types.
Yes.
You can get Crest or Colgate or whitening Crest or nighttime Colgate
Yeah.
or sensitive Colgate
Or
or
pro enamel or
all of them. And you
yeah.
read the ingredients and they're 99% the same thing,
Yep.
you know? And therapy is the same. We start to think, how can we get people to brush their teeth, choose the right toothpaste? No. Like,
Mhm.
people will engage in something when they're really in a meaning making way engaged in it. So the outdoors for me, I never thought there was anything magical about being outside, especially not in South Australia where we were, the driest state on the driest continent with the largest collection of venomous deadly animals. You know,
Yeah.
like I was like, nature will kill you here, you know?
Yes.
But so
Yes.
the amazing thing is you're doing something together. And we see
Yeah.
this data. This is fascinating, pretty new research that when you interview people who work with young people with no clinical training, they often say, I have no problem talking with young people, being around young people, building a relationship. But after like 6 visits, I don't know what to talk about anymore. So
Mhm.
we've overemphasized this talking where doing something together means you're both invested in the relationship. So when it
Mhm.
rains, or let's use a better Australian example, when it's freaking 110 degrees outside,
Yeah.
it's 110 degrees on everybody. You can
Yeah.
give youth something to imitate. They can watch you. They get to see you, how you
Yeah.
respond to the natural world. So that is sort of where I found the outdoors as a place where I know from my own childhood, that's where I'm at my best. And I can be around someone and I know I'm not anxious about what's going on and I can be present and then
Yeah.
have all the benefits that can come from being outside, whether it's, that come when it's not trying to kill you. So
Mm.
I think that I thought of the outdoors as this place that just might happen to be more engaging. And some folks will think, the outdoors as a therapeutic space is quite radical. I point them to the cover of Good Will Hunting, where Robin Williams and Matt Damon are on a park bench in Boston. People have been
Yeah.
talking outdoors forever. So
Yes.
I do think it's probably less than radical than it would seem. At the same time, I think it's just another interesting way to engage with people that
Mm.
might be a bit out of the box.
It just makes sense because you come outside and I don't know, there's a shift. There's like you're feeling more connected. You can breathe, like there's open space. Like it probably I know it's very different for everyone, but just sometimes just changing that environment is what allows people to breathe, to take a breath, to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
The
And I'll
shift.
hold on 1 second because my mom is freaking microwaving something right now. I'm not kidding. I warned them about you. No, you're not allowed on camera.
Hi,
He
Mom.
is the worst. He is the
Hi.
worst. He is so naughty. Just the worst.
This is a video recording.
Oh, sorry.
No.
No worries, Mom.
Okay, 30 seconds and get the hell out of here.
Well, from my perspective, like
Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Core Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Core Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's
Lifetime.
right. That's
Buy
right.
it once and we'll keep
Lifetime.
updating it too.
Yes, yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Core Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it. For me, being in nature is meditative, right? For Marci and I, being the medical, physical kind of woo-woos that we are, everything is vibration, right? And so that vibration in nature is huge for me. Like if I do not get myself outside, usually with my dog, speaking of being social, every morning I'm
Yeah.
not quite right. Like I have not been able to sort of settle myself down to get through my day, right? I still need to make my bed and do all those things, but it's that thing that changes my own vibration so that I'm not doing that all day.
And this is where I really lean into the metaphysical side, where I would agree with you that in the mental health space, and I talked about the story of everything pretending to be medicine after Freud.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
One of the things is sometimes when I read the literature about being outside and time in nature, it sounds very medicalized, like go outside, sit there, get your dose, and then you
Yeah.
get better. But the truth is, culturally, we all have, every culture has a view of the outdoors. Like it's no surprise forest therapy comes from Japan and South Korea. In Japan,
Mm.
every inanimate object has meaning. So a forest is full of meaning and it's
Yeah.
full of a
Yes.
story and a cultural narrative. That's
Yes.
very different to, say, an Aboriginal view of nature or,
Mm.
the way the sun travels for Lakota people.
Hmm.
So there's
Yeah.
there's stories attached to culture. What has happened in our Western world is we've attached a medicalized and we call it scientific. I'd say it's very pseudoscientific
Mm.
view of a lot of these things. Like look at mindfulness. Like I have nothing against mindfulness, but this idea that this is this neuroscientific stress reduction technique that has no history attached to Eastern like spirituality for
Oh, right.
thousands of
Yeah.
years, right?
Right.
Like we've attached our narrative onto
Yes.
something that has had meaning forever.
Right.
So one of the
Absolutely.
things with all of these things is if it works for you, you should do it. That
Yes.
Yes.
should be
Yes.
the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marcy and I use the term mindfulness just so people will listen to us and not think we're crazy, right? Like, oh, mindfulness. Oh, like
That
that's
makes sense.
vogue. And yeah, so I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I
Just a
love
second.
that
Let me tell my
about
mother to stop.
Oh.
Okay, I've done it.
we cannot hear her, just so you know.
No, okay, that's good. I can
I
hear
can
him.
see she's
No,
making you crazy, but
no,
that's her job.
no.
So,
So culturally, if you think of, and this is another good story from Freud. If you look at, whenever you open like the New Yorker and you see a cartoon of psychotherapy, it's someone
Mhm.
laying down on a couch. Like,
Yes.
right,
I'd
right.
like to meet who these clients are because I don't know who has lied down on a couch in modern
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
But Freud, it's Austria. It's the late 1800s, early 1900s. Men don't talk to each other like this. They don't talk about feelings. It's a very
Mm.
patriarchal society. So it made sense. And it was rooted in this kind of, it had a bit of hypnosis-y things to it. So
Mhm.
Right,
you
right,
lay down, you stare at the ceiling, the therapist is behind you.
right.
Now imagine when that gets to America, we're a bit more oppositional, a bit more in your face. And we said, "Eh, we're not sitting, we're not laying down. Like, we're going to talk. We're not
Right.
a child at the doctor's office. We're going
Yeah.
to. And so culture is almost the most forgotten part of how rich psychotherapy could be. That it is a cultural endeavor. So all of these traditions that we look at are all. It's incredibly important that we remember the cultural time and place where this came from. And so I think with the outdoors, one of the most important things is people say, like you were saying, Debbie, about like days outside. Now, if I asked you all to close your eyes and imagine the most pristine outdoor environment that you could be in, none of you would think of the Sahara Desert
Hmm.
because that's not your nature,
Right.
you know,
Hmm.
or
Right.
Antarctica, which is probably the cleanest place on planet Earth,
Yeah.
you
Mm.
know? So it is entrenched in our own cultural history.
Wow.
Which is
Right.
wonderful that when you go to connect, you are connecting with your place, your home, which is why some places that one person might find insanely beautiful and breathtaking
Yeah.
and awe-inspiring, another person might go, I need a bit more trees, you
Right.
know? So we all
Yes.
come from our
Yep.
own story. So culture is inherently embedded into the healing practice of what it is that we want to do.
Hmm.
I
That's a
want to
really
go.
good point.
Yeah, I want to go back to the teens, which is where
Yeah.
we all kind of started. But you have a new book called Kids These Days. So talk about your inspiration. Talk about what's going on with kids these days. Marcy and I are passionate about that group of humans. So tell us a little bit about your book and why the title.
Well, okay. The title is a little bit more of a boring story than
Oh.
well, my co-author Nevin Harper, we were at a conference in Norway, speaking of a country with a cultural view of the outdoors very different than ours. All
Yeah,
land is
yeah.
free to
I'm
use.
Norwegian.
Oh, perfect. So you have freedom to roam laws, and Nevin and I have both had the opportunity to work there as well. So we were at a conference in Norway, and Nevin was saying, what's our next project going to be? Because we've written together for the past 10 years, and I had finished an academic book, and I said, I'm done. Like, I need a huge break. And we were looking around at all these amazing therapeutic practitioners, all different backgrounds. I think we had 25 different countries there. Like, it was unbelievable. And we were saying, but every headline tells us everything is getting worse. So, more experts than ever, more books
Mm.
than ever before. I mean, we've all just survived the decade of the parenting manual, Tiger Mom or free range kids. You decide, you know. There's more instruction than ever before. Even though we have issues of access to therapy, more people go to therapy than ever before. There's more therapeutic speak than ever before.
Mhm.
I mean, social media is basically WebMD for your mental health these
Yep.
days. It's more and more and more, and everything seems to be going the opposite direction. And so I didn't know where it would go, but Nevin started a shared Dropbox file folder called Kids These Days. That's the
Ah,
and what
ah.
happened is he started interviewing experts and people that we could lean as far into who had the biggest reach, the longest, really amazing careers. He started interviewing them, and when I listened to them, I almost went like full Unabomber. I started like note with yarn to connect to somebody else's thing, and I started putting together. There's a lot of stuff here that I don't hear about in one collection of a book. I mean,
Mhm.
he even interviewed an environmental toxins researcher, which was fascinating. Not really about scaring the shit out of parents about how scary all of this is,
Yeah.
but also about we all know what we could all do to protect ourselves and protect our kids, and somehow all the people in power cannot do it, but social media will just take care of that one for you.
Yes.
We
Mhm.
can poison you, but social media will ban that one for like it was like we're missing so many points here that could be
Yes.
that are all over the place. At the same time, while we were wrapping up writing the book like last year, everything became about social media. And what it really showed us was so many books focus on one thing, like Free Range or Tiger Mom. Do
Mhm.
one thing or not, and what we found was actually you have to zoom out here. Looking at youth mental health from 40,000 feet shows a very different story than is it just the phones, or is it just this, or is it just the
Mhm.
schooling system, or is it, all of these things. So while we were writing, I just started doing a deep dive into the saying kids these days. Now, Socrates, so we're talking 400, 300 BC,
Mhm.
Yeah.
complained about the kids being lazy, disrespectful, you know,
Yeah.
they don't read anymore. You go to like the outdoors and outdoor adventure, you look at the founding of Outward Bound. This is like the
Mhm.
1930s. That was Kurt Hahn famously gave a speech called The Declines of Modern Youth. He said kids are lazy because of advanced locomotion.
Oh my God.
Mm.
They lack compassion. They're disconnected. This is a quote. Disconnected because of tranquilizers and stimulants. Right? That's evidence-based practice today.
Yes. Yes.
No. So tranquilizers and stimulants today, that's evidence-based practice. That's like
Mhm.
that's the treatment,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
This
Right.
was a problem in 100 years ago. Now it's the treatment.
Right.
And what Kurt Hahn said, which was really interesting, is he said, this is why we should give kids, teach them rescue service so that they can learn first aid, learn,
Mhm.
search and rescue techniques, learn how to sail a boat, how to write their own
Mm.
ship, how to do these things. Now, that can be taken so far the other direction and to throw everybody in the woods and scare them until they figure it out.
Right.
Right.
But Kurhan had a saying where he said, we need to treat our young people and our students as crew and not passengers. And what that
Mm,
saying really resonated with us is if you want to believe there's something wrong with kids these days, you'll wait around forever for the kids to sort themselves out, which they will do when they're 25 to 30 years old.
yep.
And then they'll be 25 and 30 years old and they'll complain about kids these days.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next generation. So
Yeah.
when we look at something like the phones, right? Like it's easy to live, and I mean, I think social media stinks. I get it. Like it's easy to live in the times that this is the biggest problem that's ever existed and it's
Yeah.
terrible. Well, New York City banned pinball for 30 years from the 1940s.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Thought pinball was
I think I have
associated
heard of
with
that
home.
actually. Yeah.
In the
Became wasn't
early
a political thing, wasn't
It
it?
was, yeah,
Like,
they threw
yeah.
them all in the Hudson. They just threw 200 pinball machines in the Hudson River.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, there's a story from Milwaukee where they said pinball, no child that has come through juvenile court has not played Satan's game, pinball. Now, here's
Right.
the problem. Every kid was playing pinball.
Yeah.
Sure.
Every kid
Yes.
Sure.
also has their phone. So it's easy to link what
Right.
everyone is
Ah,
doing to whatever phenomenon you want.
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
So the phone social media and the phone could actually just be a symptom of something that's actually far more important, which is
Mm,
how we adults interact with kids. If we
yeah.
treat them as passengers, we're going to continue to complain when they don't sit still in a classroom.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to not understand teenage anxiety, which no generation has done a great job of doing because we
Mm-hmm.
all grow out of it. Maybe I haven't, but we all grow out of it and we figure out we forget what it's like to be a teenager. And like, yeah, getting dumped, it's immediate, global. It's all so the kids these days joke is that it's really adults these days. Those are the
Right.
last three words of
Wow.
the book. Is that
Yeah.
adults have created every environment that any child has ever grown up in. And so if we just want to blame them for not fitting in with what we've created,
Yep.
Yeah.
what a fantastic cognitive dissonance
Yep.
to
For real.
Yeah.
it's what a like this is the
Yeah.
same thing with like Australia. I was on Australian news last night. Like today, they've had a social media ban put in place. No child under 16 can access
Yeah.
Mhm.
social
I
media.
saw that.
And here's what kids are doing. They're buying $20 masks of older people, putting it on their face. Like they're gonna work around this like
Oh
all
yeah.
kids,
Uh,
right?
gonna be a journey.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a journey, and it
We're
feels
teaching them resilience, right?
yeah. Right.
Let's
It's why I didn't give my kids, my
Yeah.
teenagers, I said, I'm never buying you alcohol because if you can't figure this out,
How to
you
get it
know,
yourself.
like come on. Like you can have the same experience we all did,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're also there's an assumption here that once this thing is gone, everything will be great. And this is what
Yeah.
we hear from the schooling system. The teachers will all be better off without phones in the classroom. I 100% agree. I also went to high school when there were no phones and I doodled. I would do anything not to be in the classroom.
Right.
Like this notion that all of a sudden this will panacea solve a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
We're missing what the actual problem here
Yeah.
is, which is youth engagement.
Well, I think, Marcy and I kind of started with the same thing, right? Marcy, like we started with the teens. We're doing all this work with the teens. We were doing workshops. This was pre-COVID
Hmm.
and, teaching the tools and the things that we do. And then, within a year or so, we had the parents there, right? We realized like this was nothing if the kids were going to go home and the parents weren't engaged and whatever. And now we've kind of come full circle, which, Marcy and I are actually working on a book right now, similar
Wow,
to
good.
you, that we've done 2.5 years of podcasts, and we found all these experts like yourself, and we're thinking, oh my God, we're also going, oh my God, what's the thread that ties
Mhm.
all of these experts together from all over the world in the past 2.5 years? And what we've come up with is not so different than what you're saying, is that it's the parents. It's the parents who are creating the environment for the kids, and it's the parents' job to sort of take a look inward at, like what are you doing? So it's fascinating journey that we're all taking and coming back to sort of the same core idea.
Well, and going back to the toxins for a second, just as a theme, really quickly, it's not a good political angle to say, hey, the federal government's going to step in and tell you all how to be better parents. that'll never land. Or let me tell
Right.
you all how to be more engaging teachers.
Right.
It'll
No.
never it'll piss off half of your voting
Yes.
population. So
Yes.
picking on things and inanimate objects is
Yeah.
always
Right.
easier than doing the work that all of us
Yes.
have to do,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so how do we deal with our or the people that we, whether they're our children, our spouse, our partner, our friend, how do we know what's coming up for us and how we respond to this? Because I think I'll be a little overly blunt here. I think sometimes when I hear experts on the news talking about how dangerous social media is, the narrative I hear is, oh, you don't like children. They're doing something that you don't like their behavior. It's kind of like with violent video games. Remember 20
Mhm. Oh,
years
yeah.
ago, every crime is so bad because of violent video games.
Right.
Video games have only gotten more violent. Youth
Yes.
crime has only gone down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once something's around long enough, even though it feels right, like I wouldn't just advocate, hey, here's violent video games. This is fantastic. Like at the same time, the moral panic about all of this, it never adds up to what it feels like right now. So there's a
Mhm.
part of me that sometimes thinks there's, this narrative. Oh, I think if you spent more time with teenagers, you'd understand that you don't have to demonize their technology use. And you could
Yeah.
probably teach them something and help them get to a place of digital integration instead of all of this interference where, I mean, it, it's an interesting, it's always about some other object instead of looking at ourselves. So I
Hmm.
totally agree with you that, when there's an issue, I remember this from my own mindfulness-ish training. Like when you're in traffic and it's like, oh my gosh, everybody is in my way. I'm also in all of their way. So,
Yes.
you know, we can all keep doing that work on
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
with kids, it's really important because every way we tend to intervene with young people communicates that there's something wrong with them and
Yes.
that they have to be fixed. And we know that does not work. You're never going to curb teenage behavior. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
That's
not going anywhere.
that's good to know. For all you moms,
Yeah.
teen moms
Yeah.
out there, you
They're supposed to be doing that stuff. That's part of the
that's
development.
yeah,
Yes.
that's their job.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, well, like we could talk to you for days, and I'm pretty sure
Oh,
we're gonna
that
have
was so
another
fun.
conversation with you in the future
You can
because
talk
we
to my mom next time.
Yeah.
yes, yes, and
And
see how
Renee.
about
Yeah.
the bad Will and all of
Yeah.
his stories
Yeah.
of,
Troublemaker.
yeah.
Yes, of
Well,
course.
how do people find out about your book, about True North Expeditions? Where can they find you?
Sure. So the book is available anywhere that you buy your books. Support your independent bookstores. You can
Yes,
get it
please.
online anywhere you want, though. Amazon, any of those places. To find me, I recommend going to. My name is very unique. It's from my Croatian father, so wildobud.com. And I'm a pretty open book, so you can find me on the social media pages. Most or all of them. But I love connecting with people and like doing what we just did is like the best part of my job is just meeting new people
Yeah.
and having a fun conversation and laughing a lot and then also getting embarrassed by my mother. But that's her job,
That's her
teenagers,
job.
and that's her job.
Yep.
Yeah.
So no, but I so appreciate the opportunity and meeting you both and I wish you all the best on your book because you've talked to so many people that there are so many threads there to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're excited. Thank you for showing up. It's been
Well, it's great
awesome.
to talk with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, Mom and Renee.
She's gone now. Now they're
Oh,
quiet. She's
now
gonna
she's
close
gone.
the
Now that you're
door.
done, it's all quiet.
Yeah.
Safe
Thanks,
travels.
Will.
Thank you.
Hey, warrior moms. As we started this podcast, we had determined that part of what we were going to do is to create a community. So we have decided to take it to another level, and we have started our own Facebook community in addition to the Warrior Parent podcast, and it's called
From Chaos to Calm, a sanctuary for moms. Here's what it looks like. It's on Facebook right now. please go and join it. And just to let you know, we're going to create our Blue Sky accounts right now. We're getting prepared as we watch this weird stuff go on in America. So we may be shifting the whole group to Blue Sky. Just be aware that we got you. You're going to start here. If this turns out to be not a safe place anymore on Facebook, then we will shift over. But what we're creating is a safe space where moms can show up and get information, get support, talk to each other about the things you're going through with your kids, the things you went through with your kids, maybe get some advice from moms, but also other experts. We're going to invite all of our guests and experts to join the group. I hope you will too. This is a place where you can show up and be seen and be heard and be safe. Mom's got you.
Nobody trusts anyone more than moms. So let's do this.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today, we're going to have a journaling prompt. So I encourage you to get out a journal or a piece of paper or use your phone and write the following prompt. Today, if I could do whatever I wanted to do, I would. And then just let yourself write. And remember, you're not limiting yourself by money or time or location. Today, if I could do anything I wanted to do, I would. Enjoy.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Cour Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DeMano.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.